Cross country wrapped up their A10 competitions at the A10 Championship and fared quite well. Hello, I'm Tegan Lamont.
And I'm Sydney Cortez. The volleyball team accomplished some historic feats this week. We've got all the details. You're watching LaSalle TV's Home for Explorer Athletics SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. I had the great pleasure of sitting down with new men's basketball coach Ashley Howard this week. We have part one of the interview in this week's edition of On the Sidelines.
And later, Sean Kelly hits the desk to talk all things women's basketball for our Explorer Report.
Dana's not here this week, so everybody welcome Sydney Cortez for her first time anchoring on the show.
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top three. Number one, the volleyball team had another big weekend, capturing two big wins at home. When all was said and done, the Explorers clinched a berth to A10 tournament. LaSalle is third in the A10 with a 16-9 overall record and an 8-3 conference record. Devin Coral was a big part of LaSalle's success on the court this weekend, where she was named A10 Co-Player of the Week for her efforts. She is the first volleyball player from LaSalle to receive this honor. The junior led the team in kills in both of this weekend's games, with 25 against Fordham and 14 against Rhode Island. She has consistently been one of the top players in the A10 and ranks second in the conference in kills with 352.
Number two, the cross-country teams also had some major success this weekend at the A10 Championship. Ibrahim Kedar took home the award for Outstanding Rookie Performer. Kedar was the first freshman to finish in the men's 5 mile, where he took 4th place. Kedar and sophomore Ryan James also received all conference honors. James was the second finisher for LaSalle and placed 14th overall at the championship. The women's team had the success of the course as well. Grace McKinchy earned all conference honors after finishing 6th in the 5K. Her sister, freshman Liz McKinchy, also earned an all-conference nod while also picking up the award for Outstanding Rookie Performer.
Number three, on Thursday, October 25th, LaSalle Athletics hosted its inaugural Hoops Madness event to get students excited for basketball season. Dana Pecora has the story.
It was a jam-packed evening at the Tongola Arena for the first ever Explorer Hoops Madness. Students and faculty gathered to kick off the new basketball season and to get fans excited for the months ahead. The event introduced players and coaches from both the men's and women's teams, including the many new faces of LaSalle basketball.
I'm excited just because it's an event where we can celebrate the student body, engage the student body on campus, get them excited about the upcoming season, and it's something that I want to build on every year.
It was a busy night for the players as they participated in many team activities, including a slam dunk contest, a three-point shot contest, and a mini scrimmage for the men's team. It is safe to say that the players are excited for the start of the new season.
Oh man, words can't even explain it. We're very excited. We got a great group of guys.
Glad the fans came out. We had a good time. Three-point shootout was good. The hot shots was good. The dunk contest was good. We had a good time.
The fans had an experience of their own as well, including raffles for free parking, free housing, free cap and gown, and free tickets to the season opener. The goal of the event was to get fans to participate and help with the team's success. Even President Hanich is ready for a great upcoming year.
Our new coach and our new coaching staff, they are amazing. They are very, very exciting to watch. The players are coming together in a way that is extraordinary. It's going to be a great, great season.
For SportsLine, I'm Dana Pecora.
Now that we know our headlines, let's see how our teams fared this week. The volleyball team took on Fordham and picked up another win. The score was tied 5 times in the first set, but LaSalle played tough and went on a 14-8 run. Fordham tried to fight back, but LaSalle held them off and won 25-21. The second set had 18 ties, but this time Fordham was able to capture the lead and won 25-23. The Explorers were in the zone in the third and fourth set and came through with the win. Then, for the second time this season, the Explorers swept Rhode Island. LaSalle owned the court and picked up their 16th win of the season. This is the most wins the volleyball team has had since 1998. With this win, LaSalle clinched a playoff spot in the 8th Atlantic 10 Conference Championship. This will be the LaSalle's first playoff berth since they joined the league back in 1995.
The men's soccer team ended their season against Fordham for senior night. The Explorers were outmatched from the get-go as they were outshot 6-1 in the first half. Throughout the entire game, the blue and gold failed to find an attack and managed only one shot on goal in 90 minutes. Senior Cameron Keys made 7 saves throughout the game, but the Rams rammed over the Explorers with a score of 3-0. LaSalle finished 3-11-3 and were winless in A10 play.
The field hockey team finished off their season this past weekend with 2 conference matchups, St. Joe's and Lock Haven. On Friday afternoon, the St. Joe's scored their first goal within the 3 minutes of play. Back-to-back goals put the Hawks up 3-0 early on. LaSalle's Mackenzie Karcher recorded her 8th goal of the season and the lone goal for LaSalle. Heading into the second half, the Hawks scored 4 unanswered goals, defeating LaSalle 7-1. On Sunday afternoon, the team closed out their season against Lock Haven. The Bald Eagles took a quick lead at the start of the first half and held a dominant effort for the majority of the half. In the 25th minute, Lock Haven scored their second goal and their final goal of the game. They added another goal in the second half to make the final score 2-0. The field hockey team ended their season with a conference record of 2-6 and were 8-10 overall.
The men's cross-country team put in an outstanding performance at the Atlantic 10 Championship this week. 5 Explorers finished 21st or better. The blue and gold were led yet again by freshman Ibrahim Kadir, who finished in 4th in a field of 129 runners. The freshman was awarded the conference's most outstanding rookie performer after his great in-conference season. Ryan James also finished in the top 15 with his 14th place finish. James and Kadir were both named to the all-conference team. The outstanding performances from LaSalle's top 5 runners earned the team a 2nd place finish in the conference meet, their best finish since 2013.
The women's cross-country team also competed at the A10 Championship. The LaSalle team finished 4th overall with a total of 153 points. Grace Meninci finished out just outside the top 5 in the 5K run, while her sister Liz Meninci finished 14th out of the 130 runners in the same race. Sophomore Deidre Gilmore crossed the line in the 40th, while the redshirt senior Megan Connell finished shortly after in the 42nd. Freshman Eleanor Meninci and sophomore Alexi Storantino finished in the top 75 in the 66th and 71st, respectively.
Men's swimming made the trek to Ohio for the Atlantic 10 Classic to take on St. Louis and St. Bonaventure on October 27th and 28th. Freshman standout Zachary Wolbert continued to impress with his 3 individual wins. He won the 200 IM and the 400 IM and the 200 fly. Wolbert also joined Marcus Forsgren, Norm Gregory, and Daniel Johnson in the 400 free relay team, in which they bested the field. Gregory also climbed out of the pool with 2 individual titles of his own. He narrowly defeated Forsgren in both the 50 and 100 free competitions. Freshman diver Steven Stasola edged junior Blake Griffith in the 1-meter dive, while Griffith picked up his 2nd straight win in the 3-meter dive.
The women's swimming and diving team also competed at the Atlantic 10 Classic last weekend. The women's didn't have quite the same luck as the men's team, but still brought home a number of individual accomplishments. Freshman Phoebe Shea was exceptional in the Classic's diving event, taking 1st in 1-meter event and coming in 2nd in the 3-meter event. In the pool, freshman Sarah Rosito continued her freshman campaign with a 400 individual medal win. Senior Olivia Disfano added to her distinguished record of accomplishments with a win in the 100 back event.
The men's water polo team finished out their season this weekend with a trio of tough losses. First up, the Explorers fell to Johns Hopkins 24-5. LaSalle was able to keep it close through the first quarter, trailing 7-4. But the Blue Jays went on a 17-1 run to finish out the game. Once again, LaSalle was able to keep it close through 1 quarter against Fordham, but the Rams also pulled away to top the blue and gold 15-7. Sophomore Ash Lynn led the team with 3 goals and a steal. The last matchup of the season saw the Explorers outmatched for all 48 minutes. Junior Joey DeFusco led the team against the Seahawks with 3 goals, but LaSalle fell to Wagner 21-10.
It was a rough tides for the men and women's rowing teams as they competed in the head of the Schuylkill meet on Saturday. The men's championship finished 17th out of the 37 boats with a time of 15 minutes and 4 seconds in the championship. Eight of the men finished dead last with a time of 13 minutes and 13 seconds. On the women's side, LaSalle finished 23rd out of the 43 boats with a time of 16 minutes and 40 seconds.
That's all for this week's recaps. When we come back, we have part 1 of our interesting interview with Coach Ashley Howard. Stay tuned.
It's learning how to code or make video games and websites.
Not only can you post videos online, you can make your own.
It's learning about leadership.
Together we are Tech Girls.
Welcome back. I sat down with our new men's basketball coach and talked to him about his background and qualifications to be the new basketball coach here at LaSalle. Take a look. Hi there, I'm here with Coach Ashley Howard for another edition of On the Sidelines. Coach Howard is the new men's basketball coach here at LaSalle. We're super excited to have you here. By far my most excited interview I've done so far.
No, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be back at LaSalle.
Awesome. Well, you talked about being back at LaSalle. We know you coached here under Coach Giannini. How does it feel to be getting your first head coaching job, taking over for a guy that you looked up to and respect?
Honestly, it's an awesome opportunity for me on a lot of levels, right? I'm from Philly. I didn't have to move, right? So that was convenient. And then I'm coming back to a place where I started my coaching career. And my first year as an assistant here, I was 23 years old. So I felt like my first stint here at LaSalle was almost like a graduate educational experience for me, right?
Right, yeah.
So in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm coming back home, and you know, unfortunate that Coach G, you know, was let go, but you know, he was very supportive of me getting this opportunity. It's something that I take a great deal of pride in. Not only just being the next head coach of LaSalle, but having an opportunity to bridge the gaps of all of the generations of LaSalle basketball, because this is a wonderful and rich program in terms of the history and the tradition that we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's obviously a lot of hype about you coming from Villanova, the national champions and all that experience there. What did you pick up there under Coach Jay Wright that you expect to introduce here and help build this program into that historical powerhouse that we were at one point?
Honestly, just the process, right? Just implementing a process that will allow us to have a program. You know, I say it all the time. There's a lot of teams that have basketball teams, and then there's schools that have programs, right? We want to build a program here. And when you have a program, you value things that most places don't, you know, and it's an attention to detail thing, right? So we're just starting from there, man. That's what I learned from Jay more than anything. He had unbelievable attention to detail in all areas of his program, and you know, we're starting that here, and hopefully we'll be able to see some results here as we go through this process of building the program back up.
Yeah. What are some of those steps in that process, like recruiting and that type of thing? Like, how do you get that started? Where are your first steps? Do you know what I mean?
Well, the recruiting part is built in. It's a given, right? So we're going to do that, but the process starts with the guys that we have in our locker room right now, right? And it's an accountability thing. You know, we have core values that we live by, right? Play hard, play together, play smart, and play with pride, right? And living that way in everything that we do, right? Academically, going as hard in your academics as you can, working together with the people here in this LaSalle community, and I feel like that gives you the best chance to do those things smart, and then be individuals that take pride in doing those three things, right? And you know, obviously everybody knows that our mantra here now is believe, right? And everything in life starts with believing. So just, you know, just really brainwashing our guys into having that mindset every single day, and it's a process. And you know, I think our guys are really embracing it right now, and I'm proud of the way they've responded, you know, over the last 5 months here.
Yeah. There's obviously a lot of big differences between here and Villanova. So what do you see as some challenges that you need to overcome to get to being a successful program, maybe not contending for national championships every year, but being a successful program? What are some challenges you got to push through?
I think the biggest thing for us is believing that the process and the things that we talk about every single day are important and contribute to winning, right? So, you know, the guys that are returning, they're all great guys, right? And they haven't had the experience of winning, right? So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to understand that, these are the things that contribute to winning: communicating all the time, playing hard on every possession, and just worrying about playing hard on every possession and communicating on every possession. If you do those things, you'll win, right? And just getting our guys to just buy into that, man. And it's an everyday process. We're working on it every day in practice, and then as we move forward here, we'll get opportunity to execute these things in a game.
You talked about the experience of winning and how important that is to players. You got that experience of winning at Villanova. What has that done for you as a coach and for your philosophy, and what has it shown you that can help this team get to that? You know what I'm saying?
In all honesty, the biggest thing, it's made me a believer in the process. Right. So like I trust it because I've gone through it and have experienced great success with a great team that, you know, had core values, that lived by them, that held each other accountable every single day, where everybody was in the same mind frame, that, you know, we trusted the details and we trusted that our core values would get us to where we wanted to go. And at Villanova, we never talked about winning championships. The only thing we talked about was getting better every day at our core values, right? And that's what we're trying to build here at LaSalle, and it's, you know, just starting at the ground level right now.
Obviously, you're you're obviously a big Philly guy. Born here, went to Drexel. I've only coached at one school outside of the city. What do you hope this team can bring to the community? What do you hope they can do for the city of Philadelphia?
Well, Philly is very much a basketball town, right? And you know, I think it starts with the recruiting piece. If we're able to keep some of our local talent home, then it gives the Philadelphia community a connection to LaSalle, and I think that helps, right? I hope that you know one day soon, we're the team in Philly, in the city, that the Philadelphia community can kind of rally behind as we're making an NCAA tournament run, a lot like we had back in 2013, right? And you know, on that team, we had a roster full of Philly guys, right? So hopefully, you know, we can create that. But the other thing is being in the Big Five and having an opportunity to compete against Villanova, Penn, St. Joe's, Temple, right? Programs that are you know, great programs that are NCAA tournament programs. If we can compete in the Big Five and have opportunity to win the Big Five and be very competitive right here in the Big Five, it means that we'll have a chance to be a big-time program. And just having these other programs here in the city to compete against every year, it gives you a barometer that should be able to help us make that transition.
What makes you excited to coach here? What do you think the city can give to your team, if that if you know what I'm talking about with that.
Yeah, the thing that makes me excited to coach here is that being a Philly guy, I get an opportunity to turn this program around here in my hometown and have my friends and my family and the people that I grew up playing ball with and working with be here to support, not only myself, but support our program. And if you look at our coaching staff, we got Philly guys on our coaching staff that, are committed to building this program up and committed to creating this excitement here in Philly. I think it's going to be an awesome experience here for us for the couple of years to come.
Yeah. I want to thank Coach Ashley Howard for coming out and taking the time to sit down with an interview for us. We'll have part 2 of the interview next week, so make sure you tune in. But we're going to take another break. But when we come back, we'll have Sean Kelly on with Explorer Report.
Exposure to blue light can mess with your sleep and memory cycle, so make sure you limit your screen time at least 2 hours before you go to bed.
There's plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let's welcome Sean Kelly for this week's Explorer Report.
Thank you, Sydney. In this week's Explorer Report, the women's basketball team will square off against Howard University as part of their home opener for the 2018-2019 season on November 6th at Tom Goal Arena. The Explorers last faced Howard University back in 2015, where LaSalle defeated the Bisons. It will be the first women's basketball game under new head coach Mountain McGilvray. Meanwhile, Ty Grace is entering her 3rd season as head coach of the Bison women's basketball program. The Explorers added 4 new freshmen to the roster, which includes Shayla Sweeney, Kayla Spruill, Janae Sanders, and Erin Morgan. Junior Kate Hill is also transferred from Rutgers and will look to make an impact for the Explorers. LaSalle last year averaged 57.5 points per game, while Howard averaged about 65 points per game. As the new basketball season is finally here, Coach McGilvray is confident his squad will bring their best shot on the court.
Thank you, Sean. One thing I want to touch on real quick, the transfer from Rutgers. She's transferring in this year, so we hope that she'll be a big impact on the team next year. But this year she won't be out on the court for us against.
Yeah, and going with what you said, like Rutgers is a good school for basketball for both men's and women's. So hopefully she'll bring her talent from what she had at Rutgers to LaSalle. So hopefully she can better improve the program as next year goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that's pretty obvious here is the youth on the women's team. There's not very many players that you see and you know their names right off the bat. There's a lot of freshmen. There's a lot of people that haven't played. So
yeah, and going off with that, we lost a lot of seniors last year who brought so much talent to the team. So it's up to the freshmen to bring their talent from what they've had in high school and try to build the program up as the year goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did picks as we do every week, so I'll throw it to that here. I've got LaSalle taking the win. I've got us 55-50. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. Sydney?
I got LaSalle winning too for 66-59. I think I'm optimistic. New head coach, you know.
First game of the season, get started off right. Sean?
And I'm also going on the LaSalle train. I'm going for a 72-59 victory. I think LaSalle will build some more points. There'll be more shots on the court against Howard. So
yeah, I agree. I think you have to start somewhere with a new program, and when you're looking to pick up your first win of the season under a new head coach, it's nice to start with a team that's not known as a powerhouse. Before we end the show, our assistant producer, Isaiah Clark, gives you a behind-the-scenes look at what goes into each episode of SportsLine.
12:30 on Thursday. Friday night, volleyball competed against George Washington in A10 play. That's when me and my fellow producers, Helen Stars, Steven Silvestro, Dana Pecora, and Tegan Lamont put the finishing touches on our show, SportsLine.
Would you prefer it if I made this gap a little bit smaller and then we put it in the bottom right corner?
Helen, Steve, and I work in the background, mostly in the control room, setting up shots and handing out scripts, while Dana and Tegan work as our on-air talent. But sometimes it's not always the easiest job.
It is taking years off of my life, but I'm only planning to live till 74, so not too much of an importance to me.
In the end, we always found a way to pull through and survive another 28 minutes a week before turning around and starting work for the next show.
2, 1, camera 3. I think everyone who's ever produced SportsLine has somehow got coerced into it, but we all end up really liking it anyway. We don't say it, we don't advertise that, but we do.
For LaSalle TV, I'm Isaiah Clark.
October 19th.
I want Isaiah to get a good grade. Please give him an A. Who's your teacher? Professor Bradford. You know who I am. Please give this young man a good grade.
Thanks, Isaiah, for the look inside the scenes here at SportsLine, but that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook on facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
For Sean, Dana, and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Tegan Lamont.
And I'm Cindy Cortez. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the game.